In 2017, physicists aimed cosmic rays at the Great Pyramid. They found something that should not be there. A void, the size of a cathedral that no one knew existed. Egyptian authorities blocked nearly every attempt to investigate for over a decade. And why? When a robot finally reached the sealed door at the end of that passage, it was ordered to stop. What lies behind that door has divided Egyptology into two camps. What the robot found has not been released. Stay until the end. The door is still waiting to see. What lies behind that door has divided Egyptology. And no one, not yet, has been allowed to say what the robots found. The void, the sealed door, the banned investigation. In the 21st century, scientists proved that everything we thought we knew about this pyramid was wrong. This is the story of what they found, and what the world is still waiting to see. The year is 2015. An international team of physicists arrives at Giza. Japanese, French, Egyptian scientists, carrying equipment never before used on an ancient structure. Their tool? Muons. Subatomic particles generated when cosmic rays strike the upper atmosphere. They pass through solid rock the way X-rays pass through flesh. They pass through harder material in smaller numbers. 3 separate teams, 3 different technologies, working independently. Nagoya University placed nuclear emulsion films inside the Queen's chamber. Plates recording the trajectory of every single muon that passes through. The French Atomic Energy Commission positioned gas detectors entirely outside on the north face. And when they compared their data in November 2017, all 3 had detected the exact same anomaly in the exact same location. A void. Directly above the Grand Gallery, at least 30 meters long, with a cross-section similar to the Grand Gallery itself. The statistical confidence, 5 sigma. The probability of a false positive, less than 1 in 3.5 million. The paper was published in Nature, and the response from Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities was immediate. They refused to use the word void. The official statement called it an anomaly. Zahi Hawass, former Minister of Antiquities, told the press the discovery offered, this is a direct quote, 0 to Egyptology. The Japanese research team publicly disagreed. They stated the void's characteristics were completely different from any previously identified construction space. Here is what almost no reporting mentioned. The ScanPyramids team used a technique called image fusion. 4 independent technologies, all pointing to the same space, and yet the void remained sealed. But the void was not the beginning of this story. In 1993, German engineer Rudolf Gantenbrink sent a small robot up the southern shaft of the Queen's chamber. The robot climbed 65 meters at a steep incline, and then it stopped. Blocking its path, a smooth limestone slab with 2 copper handles. No researcher had known this door existed. The world waited 9 years for the next mission. In 2002, National Geographic sponsored a new robotic expedition. The robot drilled a small hole through the limestone slab. A fiber optic camera was inserted. And what was behind the door? Another door, 20 centimeters behind the first, rougher, heavier, unmoved. In 2011, the Jedi Project sent an articulating micro-snake camera through the drilled hole. What they found changed the interpretation entirely. The reverse side of the first door, facing the hidden space, was completely finished and polished. This door was not a crude blockage. It was deliberately crafted. And then the camera revealed something else entirely. On the floor of the small space between the two slabs, red-painted hieroglyphs. Researchers translated them. The number? 121. The exact length of the shaft measured in ancient Egyptian cubits. Someone, 45 centuries ago, counted every step of this passage and left a record inside a space no one was ever meant to reach. After the Jedi mission in 2011, all robotic exploration was suspended. Egyptian authorities did not issue new permits. Proposals to use endoscopes? Rejected. Proposals to drill? Rejected. But here is what was never widely reported. In ancient Egyptian engineering, chevrons were never decorative. Their sole purpose? To divert vertical pressure, to prevent roofs from collapsing. The presence of massive chevrons on the north face was, for any trained engineer, a definitive sign. Something underneath needed protecting. In early 2023, researchers found a natural gap between the casing stones on the north face. An endoscopic camera was inserted through the gap, and they saw it for the first time. A corridor, 9 meters long, 2 meters wide. A gabled ceiling precisely engineered to redirect millions of tons of pressure. And at the far end of the corridor, a sealed stone door, smooth, unmarked. In November 2025, Zahi Hawass stood before an audience at the 44th Sharjah International Book Fair. The man who, in 2017, had called the void zero for Egyptology. He had changed his position completely. He announced that a discovery inside the Great Pyramid would, and this is his exact phrase, write a new chapter in the history of the pharaohs. He described a 30-meter passageway, too narrow for any human being to enter, explored by specialized robots equipped with high-definition cameras and laser mapping tools. By late 2025, those robots had reached the end of the passage, and what they found, Hawass stated clearly, was a sealed stone door, a barrier that had not been opened in 4,500 years. The full reveal, scheduled for 2026. Then he said something that stopped the room. He said that if the space behind the door is completely untouched, it could contain the missing mummy of King Khufu himself. The pharaoh who built the Great Pyramid, the man whose tomb was found completely empty. No mummy, no grave goods, not a single inscription bearing Khufu's name inside his own pyramid. Some architectural historians have long proposed that the king's chamber was a deliberate decoy, a false tomb designed to be discovered, to be entered, to be robbed. In November 2025, Cairo University and TU Munich announced hidden voids behind the eastern face of the Menkaure Pyramid. A section 4 meters high, 6 meters wide, polished smooth with extraordinary care. When journalists asked Hawass directly, what did the robots see behind the door? He stated that the committee would release a peer-reviewed report prior to the official unveiling. He said nothing more. A member of the Oversight Committee was asked the same question at a separate conference. He looked at the moderator, he looked at the audience, and said nothing. In 4,500 years, not one person has seen what is in that room. The report has not been released. The date has not been confirmed. And the silence from the committee grows louder with every passing week. Science tells us this much. 3 independent physics institutions confirmed a massive void using 5 sigma statistical certainty, the same standard used to confirm the Higgs boson. A 9-meter corridor was visually confirmed by endoscope in 2023. It ends at a sealed stone door. Robots reached that door by late 2025. A major announcement is expected in 2026. What we know for certain is this. Inside the most studied monument in human history, there is at least one sealed space that no living person has ever physically entered. The ancient Egyptians documented everything: harvests, taxes, battles, floods. We even have the daily work logs of the men who transported the limestone to build this pyramid. They recorded the number of stones moved each day, the names of the overseers, the routes the boats took. But not one document, not one inscription mentions this room. They built it and then erased any record that it existed. If this pyramid was truly just a tomb, why does it contain a room that the people who built it were never supposed to find? If you want to know what happens when that door finally opens, subscribe. We cover every major discovery the moment it breaks. And tell me in the comments, do you believe the room behind that door contains the burial of Khufu? Or an empty construction void, sealed and forgotten 4,500 years ago?